Listen carefully. The world does not reward the kind, it rewards the aware. You were taught to be honest, to be agreeable, to believe that effort alone earns respect. But look around carefully. The men who rise are not always the strongest or the smartest. They are the ones who understand people, the ones who see motives hiding behind smiles, the ones who move without announcing their intentions. This is where power begins, not in cruelty, not in chaos, but in clarity. A manipulative genius does not hate people, he studies them. He understands that everyone wants something: approval, security, attention, control. And once you see what people want, you begin to see how easily they reveal themselves. Most people react, but you will learn to observe. Most people speak, but you will learn to listen. Because the moment you stop needing validation, you become dangerous. You stop chasing acceptance and start choosing outcomes. This is not about becoming evil, it is about becoming untouchable, calm when others panic, silent when others overshare, patient while others expose their weaknesses. Power belongs to the man who cannot be easily read. If you understand this, write in the comments now. I move in silence. Say it and mean it. Because from this moment forward, you are no longer learning how the world should work. You are learning how it actually does. Number 1. Seeing what others miss. Most people walk through life half asleep. They hear words but ignore intention. They watch actions but miss patterns. A manipulative genius learns to see what others refuse to notice. Every conversation carries a hidden negotiation. Every friendship contains an exchange of value. Every display of confidence often hides insecurity beneath the surface. When you begin to observe without emotion, people start revealing themselves effortlessly. The loud one seeks attention. The agreeable one fears rejection. The aggressive one protects weakness. And the silent one is usually calculating. Your advantage is not force. It is perception. You do not rush to judge, because judgment blinds you. Instead, you collect information. You notice who interrupts, who seeks approval before speaking, who changes their tone depending on status. These small details tell you everything about how a person can be influenced. Understand this clearly. People believe they are rational, but they are driven by emotion. Fear, pride, envy, desire. These are the real levers of human behavior. The man who controls his own emotions gains control over situations others cannot handle. While they react, you remain still. While they argue, you observe. While they reveal their intentions, you keep yours hidden. This is how influence begins, not by forcing outcomes, but by allowing others to move exactly where you want them to go, while believing it was their own decision. If this lesson resonates with you, write in the comments, I see clearly. Because once you learn to see people as they truly are, you stop being surprised by betrayal, manipulation, or deception. You expect it, prepare for it, and move above it. And that is the moment you begin to separate yourself from the crowd. Number 2. Control before power. Power without control destroys the man who holds it. This is the mistake most ambitious people make. They chase influence, status, and dominance before mastering themselves. A manipulative genius understands a brutal truth. If you cannot control your emotions, someone else will. Anger exposes you. Pride blinds you. Desperation makes you predictable. And predictability is weakness. The calm man, the one who does not rush to respond, who does not feel the need to win every argument, becomes impossible to manipulate. He listens longer than others are comfortable with. He pauses before speaking. He allows silence to do the work. People reveal more when they are trying to fill the quiet. This is not passivity, it is discipline. You are not surrendering control, you are conserving it. Machiavellian thinking is often misunderstood as constant deception, but true strategy is restraint. You do not show all your strength at once. You do not reveal every opinion. You allow others to underestimate you because underestimation creates freedom. When people think they understand you, They stop looking deeper. That is where your advantage lives. Emotional reactions are expensive. Every time you react impulsively, you give someone information about your fears, your insecurities, your limits. The man seeking power learns to give away nothing unnecessarily. He chooses when to care and when to remain untouched. This creates an aura of stability that others begin to rely on, even if they cannot explain why. And reliance is the first step toward influence. People follow those who appear unshaken by chaos. They trust those who do not panic. In moments of tension, the controlled man becomes the center of gravity. Others adjust themselves around him. This is how authority forms naturally, without force or loud declarations. Remember this: power is not proven through aggression, but through composure. The one who stays calm while others lose themselves quietly takes control of the room, the conversation, and eventually the outcome. If you want to go deeper into mastering this mindset and learning how real strategic power works, make sure you subscribe to Machiavellian Strategies, turn on notifications, and continue the journey. Number 3. The art of calculated distance. The greatest mistake people make is giving too much of themselves away. They speak too soon, trust too quickly, and reveal their intentions before the game has even begun. A manipulative genius understands the power of distance, not isolation. Distance, emotional distance, strategic distance, the ability to be present without being exposed. When people know everything about you, they know where to apply pressure. Your fears become leverage. Your desires become tools against you. But when you remain composed and measured, you become difficult to predict, and what cannot be predicted cannot be easily controlled. This is why restraint creates authority. You do not respond to every message immediately. You do not explain every decision. You do not seek approval for choices you have already made. Silence forces others to interpret you, and in that interpretation, they often project their own expectations and weaknesses. You allow this. The less you explain, the more people assume depth. And perceived depth creates influence. Machiavellian thinking is not about constant manipulation. It is about understanding timing. There are moments to step forward and moments to step back. The man who is always available loses value. The man who appears only when necessary becomes significant. Presence gains weight when it is not constant. This is why powerful individuals guard their energy carefully. They do not argue with everyone. They do not correct every misunderstanding. They let small things pass because they are focused on larger outcomes. Distance also protects clarity. When you are emotionally entangled in every conflict, you lose perspective. But when you step back, you see patterns others miss. You see alliances forming, insecurities surfacing, opportunities emerging. From distance, strategy becomes obvious, and strategy always defeats impulse. Understand this clearly. You do not need everyone to like you. Respect is more durable than approval. Approval fades the moment you stop pleasing people. Respect remains because it is built on consistency and self-control. The man who is comfortable standing alone becomes immune to social pressure, and once you are no longer controlled by the need to belong, you begin to move freely. If this mindset speaks to you, subscribe to Machiavellian Strategies, turn on notifications, and continue sharpening your mind. Number 4. Mastering perception. Reality matters less than perception. This is a truth most people resist because it feels uncomfortable. They want the world to be fair, to reward effort and honesty equally, but power moves through perception. People respond not to what you are, but to what they believe you are. A manipulative genius understands this and shapes perception carefully. You do not need to announce strength. You demonstrate it through calm behavior. You do not demand respect. You behave in a way that makes disrespect uncomfortable. The way you speak, the way you pause, the way you refuse to chase attention, all of it sends signals. And people are always reading signals, even when they are unaware of it. Weakness often appears as over-explanation. When a man constantly justifies himself, he reveals insecurity. When he seeks agreement from everyone, he loses authority. The strategic mind speaks less, but with intention. Each word has weight because it is not wasted. This creates an invisible pressure. Others begin to listen more closely, to consider your reactions more seriously. You are no longer competing for attention. Attention comes to you. Understand this clearly. You are always being evaluated. In conversations, in conflict, in silence. The question is whether you are shaping that evaluation or leaving it to chance. The manipulative genius never leaves it to chance. He controls his image by controlling himself. Consistency builds reputation, and reputation builds influence long before power is openly visible. Over time, people begin to assume competence, stability, and authority simply because you never appear shaken. This is how influence grows quietly, without force, without noise. If you want to continue learning how to build this level of psychological control and strategic awareness, subscribe to Machiavellian Strategies and turn on notifications. Number 5. The power of patience. Most people destroy their own plans because they cannot wait. They want results immediately. They want recognition now. They want victory without enduring uncertainty. A manipulative genius understands that patience is not weakness. It is controlled aggression. It is the ability to hold position while others exhaust themselves. Time exposes everything: intentions, weaknesses, loyalties. The impatient man reveals his strategy too early. The patient man lets others reveal theirs first. This is why restraint becomes a weapon. When someone tries to provoke you, they are searching for information. They want to see what angers you, what threatens you, what makes you react. The moment you respond emotionally, you give them leverage. But when you remain calm, when you refuse to be rushed, you force them into discomfort. People begin to overextend when they cannot predict your response. They speak more than they should. They act too soon. And in that moment, advantage shifts quietly in your favor. Patience also creates precision. Instead of chasing every opportunity, you learn to select the right one. Power is not built by constant movement, but by deliberate movement. The hunter who moves too often scares away the target. The one who waits understands timing. In social dynamics, in business, in conflict, timing determines outcome more than effort. Acting too early creates resistance. Acting too late creates irrelevance. The strategic mind watches until the moment is unavoidable, then moves decisively. This creates the illusion of effortlessness. Others believe you are simply lucky, unaware of the observation and restraint that came before the action. There is another advantage to patience: emotional independence. When you are not desperate for immediate results, you cannot be pressured. Desperation makes people compromise their standards. It makes them accept unfavorable terms, tolerate disrespect, and reveal insecurity. The patient man walks away when necessary because he understands that time produces new opportunities. This quiet confidence unsettles others. They sense that you cannot be controlled through urgency or fear of loss. And when someone realizes they cannot rush you, they begin to negotiate differently. Patience also sharpens perception. Distance from immediate reaction allows you to see long-term consequences. While others focus on winning the moment, you focus on winning the outcome. You allow small losses when they serve a larger strategy. You remain silent when speaking would satisfy ego but damage position. This level of discipline separates those who seek power from those who actually attain it. In the end, patience is not about waiting passively. It is about preparing while others reveal themselves, strengthening your position while others weaken theirs, and moving only when resistance is lowest and success is inevitable. Number 6. Emotional detachment. The greatest advantage you can develop is emotional detachment, not the absence of feeling, but the refusal to be ruled by it. Most people make decisions to protect their ego, to satisfy anger, or to avoid discomfort. A manipulative genius does the opposite. He separates emotion from action. He feels, but he does not react blindly. This creates clarity in moments where others lose control. When insulted, he studies the intention instead of defending pride. When challenged, he measures the outcome instead of seeking immediate victory. Emotional detachment allows you to see conflict as information rather than threat. Every reaction from others reveals something: insecurity, fear, ambition, or hidden resentment. While they are consumed by emotion, you remain focused on direction. This makes you difficult to provoke and even harder to manipulate. People eventually stop trying to push your buttons because they receive no predictable response. Detachment also protects your energy. Not every battle deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves correction. The strategic mind understands that attention is currency, and wasting it on minor conflicts weakens your position. You learn to let small things pass without internal disturbance. Silence becomes strength rather than avoidance. Over time, this creates an aura of stability. Others begin to rely on your calm presence during chaos, even if they do not understand why. Emotional control signals security, and security attracts influence. The man who cannot be emotionally shaken becomes a fixed point in uncertain environments. And in a world driven by impulse, the one who remains steady quietly gains control over situations, conversations, and outcomes without ever appearing to force them. Number 7. The value of selective truth. A manipulative genius understands that truth is rarely simple. People do not respond to raw honesty. They respond to what aligns with their beliefs and emotions. This does not mean constant lying. It means understanding when truth should be revealed, softened, or withheld. Saying everything you think is not strength, it is exposure. Strategic minds choose their words carefully because information, once given, cannot be taken back. The goal is not deception for its own sake, but control over outcomes. You allow others to reach conclusions that benefit your position. When people believe an idea is theirs, they defend it more strongly. This is influence at its quietest level. Selective truth also protects you from unnecessary conflict. Not every disagreement needs to become a confrontation. Sometimes silence preserves leverage better than correction. Sometimes agreement creates access where resistance would close doors. The disciplined mind asks one question before speaking: does this move me closer to the outcome I want? If the answer is no, restraint becomes the wiser choice. Power often belongs not to the one who speaks the most, but to the one who understands what must remain unsaid. Number 8. Power without display. True power rarely announces itself. The loudest man in the room is often the least secure, trying to convince others of something he does not fully believe himself. A manipulative genius understands that display attracts resistance. The more openly you seek dominance, the more people quietly begin to oppose you. Real influence moves differently. It operates through calm certainty, through measured words, through actions that speak without explanation. You do not need to prove your strength when your behavior already communicates control. This is why restraint becomes intimidating. When others argue, you remain composed. When others compete for attention, you focus on results. Over time, people begin to adjust themselves around you because stability is rare, and rarity creates value. Power without display also protects you from unnecessary enemies. Open ambition invites challenge, but quiet competence creates acceptance. People feel less threatened by someone who does not constantly seek recognition, yet they gradually recognize the authority anyway. This allows you to move freely, to influence decisions without appearing forceful. The strategic mind understands that visibility should be intentional, not constant. You step forward when presence is required, and step back when observation provides greater advantage. This rhythm keeps you unpredictable while maintaining control. There is also discipline in refusing to chase validation. Approval is temporary and easily withdrawn. The moment you rely on it, your behavior becomes dependent on others' opinions. A man seeking approval adjusts himself constantly, losing direction in the process. But the man who defines his own standards becomes internally stable. He listens, he evaluates, but he is not easily swayed. This quiet independence commands respect because it signals strength without aggression. In the end, power is not about dominating people. It is about mastering yourself so completely that external pressure loses its effect. When you no longer need to prove anything, your actions become precise, your words become fewer, and your presence becomes heavier. People sense it without understanding why, and that is the paradox of real power. The less you try to show it, the more undeniable it becomes. In the end, becoming untouchable is not about controlling others. It is about reaching a state where others cannot easily control you. Most people spend their lives reacting to criticism, reacting to pressure, reacting to fear of being left behind. They move according to emotion, and emotion makes them predictable. The manipulative genius breaks this cycle. He understands that freedom begins the moment you stop allowing external forces to dictate your internal state. When praise no longer inflates you and criticism no longer weakens you, you become steady. And steadiness is power in a world driven by impulse. The untouchable mind is built through awareness. You begin to notice how often people act from insecurity rather than intention. How often conflict is driven by ego rather than necessity. How often decisions are made simply to avoid discomfort. Once you see this clearly, you stop taking things personally. Insults lose their sting because you recognize the motive behind them. Pressure loses its force because you understand it is often artificial. You stop rushing to defend yourself because you no longer feel constantly threatened. This calm detachment creates space between stimulus and response, and inside that space lives choice. Choice is where strategy begins. But there is a deeper level to this mindset. An untouchable person is not cold for the sake of being cold. He is selective. He chooses where to invest emotion, where to give loyalty, where to spend energy. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts or your vulnerabilities. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They allow the right people closer while keeping chaos at a distance. This is how you maintain strength without losing humanity. The goal is not isolation, but control over what influences you. When you choose your influences carefully, your direction becomes clear, and clarity eliminates hesitation. Many people misunderstand Machiavellian thinking as constant manipulation, but real strategy is efficiency. You do not create unnecessary conflict. You do not waste energy proving superiority. You focus on outcomes. You learn when to speak and when silence creates more impact. You learn when to advance and when patience creates advantage. Over time, this discipline compounds. Others begin to trust your judgment because you do not act impulsively. They seek your opinion because you are not easily shaken. Influence grows naturally around those who remain consistent under pressure. There will be moments when this path feels lonely, when others misunderstand your restraint as distance or your silence as indifference. Accept this. Not everyone is meant to understand discipline. Most people are comfortable reacting. Few are willing to observe themselves honestly. The untouchable mind accepts temporary misunderstanding in exchange for long-term control. You stop needing immediate approval because you are focused on long-term stability, and stability over time becomes authority. Remember this above all. Power without direction destroys, but power guided by self-mastery creates freedom. The goal was never to become feared. Fear creates resistance. The goal is to become composed, aware, and difficult to destabilize. When people realize they cannot provoke you, rush you, or emotionally corner you, they begin to treat you differently. Not because you demanded respect, but because your behavior made disrespect ineffective. So as you move forward, carry this mindset with precision. Observe more than you speak. Choose responses instead of reactions. Let patience replace urgency. Let clarity replace ego. The world will continue to be loud, emotional, and impulsive. You do not have to join it. The man who remains calm while others lose themselves quietly shapes outcomes without ever appearing to force them. If this message resonated with you, remember to like the video, subscribe to Machiavellian Strategies, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next lesson. The journey is not about becoming someone else. It is about removing weakness, sharpening awareness, and building a mind that cannot be easily moved by the chaos around it.